Should we bring the piano? No. We made a giant Hindenburg.
Oh, what?
The boobs.
Yes, probably. Flashing Hindenburg.
Excuse me.
He was a sex worker?
Dude's dead.
Oh wait, there's also no swastika in this one.
Oh,
The naked
sunset.
dudes and the crying child.
This is all that exists now.
Not the Nazis.
He would have slayed on MTV.
So good.
He also slept with a lot of men,
Yes.
which some of the Nazis did, but they weren't supposed to. Hello, welcome to a slightly different episode. I want to show you a little bit behind the scenes about how I, or rather we, make these videos. A couple of the little issues we have that we overcome, don't worry, it's going to be us whinging. And of course, talk through a bit of Berlin history as well. So who is we in this case? Well, I'm joined by...
Fausto,
And Cassie.
Yeah, and together you are...
we're Underpaid Mantis.
Yeah.
We are.
I mean, imagine in my shoes working with an organization that calls themselves Underpaid.
Like, good for you, man.
yeah, and about that, yeah. And so Fausto and Kassi, they got in touch like early this year and were like, oh, you said in one of your videos that you want to work with editors and do animations and stuff. And we can do like everything and more, including especially sound, because I'm terrible with sound. And so, yeah, I was like, sure, let's give it a go. And then I handed you the biggest, most complicated project I've worked on.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
It was a trial by fire.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was the Arvos video with Tom Bellingham. And yeah, you guys smashed it. Like, I was like, this is all so great. I love it. And one of the things I've always been worried about when it comes to working with editors, because I should have done it from the start, is like, my process is like, well, I read some history, then I just talk about it, and then I find the images I want to show people later. Should I change that process? Yes. Have I changed it? No. And so, yeah, one of these nice things that's happened this year is you guys have started to find images that we can use. I think maybe we should tell people the issue with using images in Germany.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, this is like a copyright black hole. So there's a lot of restrictions in regards to in what in other countries is called fair use.
Yeah,
I guess.
fair use does not exist in Germany.
Yes, it's not a concept yet.
Germany, the land of fast change.
Yes, I'm being very optimistic
after the
that
fact.
maybe when we're in our 50s,
Yeah.
maybe they start talking about it.
So effectively, if we were making the same videos, but we didn't live in Germany, we could use a lot more images and therefore show them to people like you watching this. And so we can use a lot of stuff that you would easily find on Wikipedia or Wikimedia Commons, which often has a lot more. And what we usually look for is stuff that's Creative Commons, which is your favorite bit, because you're the one who
Yeah.
compiles the list of
8 pages.
8 pages was the record of attributions. My favorite ones are always from the German Federal Archive that are credited to, well, they would usually have the name, they're credited to unbekannt. So just unknown. And I like that we're taking the time to make sure that unknown
It's credited.
is correctly
Yeah.
attributed. Yeah, some random guy. And like you might be thinking, copyright that like runs out after a few years, whatever. It is in Germany for photographers 70 years after the death of the photographer. Very death-focused country.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and so even though we're sometimes using images that are more than 100 years old, effectively, unless they're from the 19th century, we're not certain.
Yeah, it's also like a bit cloudy because as we were researching some images, you see that there's many there's many companies just licensing these images that are basically in the public. It's like it's just it's a shark. It's just like a shark town, you know.
Yeah, I once in a previous job I had to make a flyer. It was walking tours. And like I sent this image to this graphic designer, and yeah, he was like, I don't think Dark Lord 6969 actually owns the copyright to that.
Yes.
And I was like, shit, yeah, who knew?
Yeah.
And so you guys very excitedly got in touch with me when we were working on a recent video on the Olympic Stadium, which statistically you did not watch. So go back and watch it. The numbers are awful. And yeah, you told me that you'd found like this.
And I think it's our best, if I may say.
Yeah. Oh,
I'd say this is our best, and every one we do gets better.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
true.
that's true.
it
The
is.
music in that one is also, it's a banger, I think.
He does the music. It's just like, oh, Johnny, I couldn't find something, so I just recorded something. And he's great. Like, I gave you a tough challenge at the beginning. I was like, make some nice music for a cemetery. And then you were like, what about 80s synth?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
no, don't do that. And then you did, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
Well done. Anyway, you found this Hungarian like archive and this
Oh, yes.
photographer, and like, what's the story there?
I figured out there's another archive called Fortepan, and it was founded in 2010s, I think, and it was originally for photographs found in the streets of Budapest, which is super cool. But then they opened it to other pictures, and then it's like open source. Everyone can use download the pictures, very good quality. So when we're doing the Olympia Stadium, I was like, oh, what's up there about this? And this photographer came up of this collection with a lot of pictures from Berlin at the time and the stadium, but also around in Potsdam, in Dresden, Munich.
I mean, because the
Hamburg.
collection, we found the collection in Wiki Commons, and it has the Fortepan kind of link, no? From
No, it was
No?
I just looked.
Yeah.
We found the Wikimedia guy, and then I thought, okay, what's in Fortepan? Because he's Hungarian, right?
Yeah,
yes,
and
yes.
then you found like
And then I found someone else.
like
who was-
sister images to each of
Yes.
these. Like clearly these people were together the whole time.
And in the one game, they're together
Oh, just in the stadium.
in the stadium, and
When
we
the-
have pictures from both.
All
of
the
them.
people seem to be waving in a very straight-armed
Very,
fashion.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
But then you got in touch with a couple of people, right? The people who uploaded this stuff.
Yes, I got in touch with a donor in Fortepan, which is this lady. Oh my God, I'm gonna completely butch that name, but it's
It's on screen.
right. You can see it
Yeah, there it is.
there. So I wrote her if she could share some info about the pictures she had in Fortepan, and she replied to me, and she's actually living in Berlin too, so that was nice. And she told me she found that collection in an apartment in Budapest in 2001.
Oh yeah, you sent me what she said.
Yeah,
She like
exactly.
opened this box and she's like, it was like full of photographs of like swastikas and stuff, and I was uncomfortable.
Yeah, I imagine that. It was
Yeah.
like mostly negatives, and then she's like, "Ah, okay, it's the Olympics," you know. Like,
Yeah. They were just visiting. It's fine. But then she was able to scan these images and add them to the
yeah.
collection.
So when Fortepan opened to pictures from other places, not just Hungary, she donated them to the archive.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it might not be a Hungarian photographer who necessarily took them.
She thinks it's her great uncle because
Okay.
it was just his belongings, and
That would make sense.
yeah, and she also wrote that he was a textile merchant
Yep.
that was probably visiting for business.
So this group of Hungarians were then presumably here for the Olympics, and we just noticed making that video that we used a lot of these images, and then we had to look through them, and we thought it would make a cool video just to tell this little story. But then to go through them, because you guys were like, "Do you know where this is?" And I was like, "I think so." And so I'd say maybe there's about 40, and we've gone through to about 20 or so that we like know for sure where they are, and like that's why we brought the monitor. Not just for the fun. And so I was like, I can talk about these ones, right?
Yeah.
Cool. This is the first one? This is the beginning? Yeah, this one's really easy because it says US and it says,
Admiralspalast.
Yeah. So that means it's right outside Friedrichstrasse station, and the Admiralspalast back then, as it is today, is an entertainment center. I've talked about it, I think, in a couple of videos before. It's where the Social Democrats and the Communists came to shake hands and agree that they should form the Socialist Unity Party.
Oh.
Yeah. So some of the very founding moments of East Germany.
see.
That's about 3 years before the country was founded. Around this time, they would have had a little refit in here, and they added what's called a Führerloge. Basically, in the regular seating, you would have a little balcony, And that's
I
so that,
love those right back then.
yeah, you've
Like
got one
the
in
one
the
in
Olympic
stadium,
Stadium. Absolutely. I always I call it so that Hitler can do his Sweet 16 entrance.
Bachelorette.
He would have slayed on MTV. But yeah, before the show starts, before the curtain lifts, the last thing that will happen is that Hitler will come in and everyone can sit there and go, great, not only am I enjoying this show, but so is he. And then in the 2000s or so, they were renovating the place. And it's under protection. And so they're supposed to redo it exactly as it was at a certain time. And they just forgot to add Hitler's little balcony.
I mean, I would have forgotten probably.
Yeah. But otherwise, that's an area, I mean, this is obviously such a dark image, but it's an area that, yeah, you can stand there. Yeah, you can stand there and do the before and after. I did. There's B-roll. You're watching it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great picture. I like it because you can see all these outlines of just like
We've got motion as well.
Yeah.
We've also got, right up at the top of the image, Olympic rings and a swastika. So you know exactly when and where this is.
And a lot of them, actually.
Yeah, swastika is really going to be a theme for the next few images, which I think is why it's cool to show these off. It's cool to show you because it's so different to how it looks today.
The neon lights also, it's not like that near Friedrichstrasse, like in there.
Not now, but this was a big entertainment center in the Weimar era. This is where the tourists would show up, where you get fleeced and so on. But if the photographer were to keep walking straight forward, there would be even more neon lights on the other side. And the Nazis knew that Berlin had this fun reputation at the time, like a hangover from the Weimar period. Say this is only 1936, right? And so they were keen to promote this stuff, for the tourists coming to the games. So yeah, I mean, then they would, crack down on it because after the games is finished, who wants fun?
Yes, not the Nazis.
Famously not into it, yeah.
Oh.
What's the next one?
The next one would be this one.
This is a fun one. Do you guys recognize this at all?
No. No.
No, I have no idea. I don't think this exists. I think it's Unter and Linden, probably, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. This building in the image doesn't exist, and these statues were only temporary for the Olympics.
Yeah, they're terrible
Oh,
looking.
okay.
I've seen it in other pictures.
In the
And these
daytime.
ones, they look like they were paper mache by a bunch of high school kids or something.
Not quite. The artist's name, if we found it, would be on the front. I did find it at one point when I was preparing for this. But yeah, they were just specifically made for the Olympics, and actually they are running towards the Brandenburg Gate, right? So this.
Is this where the Russian embassy is?
Nope. We're a bit further down the road. So actually the statues are stood right in front of the Hotel Adlon.
Oh.
And that's where the Academy of Arts now is, a glass-fronted building.
Okay.
Which would become Albert Speer's office, actually. It wouldn't have been at that time because he didn't get the top job until the end of
That's where
1937.
they have the Germania model and the doors for Hitler to kind of just play with his toys. And
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is the big city we're going to build. Actually, I've got another idea. Let's invade everybody.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's right there. Let's have a look at the
Next one.
next. On this little tour they did. Oh, this is a cool one because we can still see that today, but not there. So what we can, if we were to go and stand in the same spot as this dude today, we'd be able to see the tower where Berlin's mayor is. This and this building are definitely not here. This one,
It's the Schloss.
yeah, it's kind of there. It's the Humboldt Forum, right? And the fountain has survived, but the East Germans moved it.
Yeah.
And at the time that I wanted to go and get B-roll for it, it was while they were setting up the Christmas market. And
I see, yeah.
the only thing worse than a Christmas market in the daytime is setting up a Christmas market in the daytime. It's visually
that's
quite
true.
terrifying. And so, yeah, we might have another image of it. But yeah, it's the statue was presented, the fountain was presented to Kaiser Wilhelm II in 1890.
He was into his big sculptures.
Love the big naked dude, a crying child is in there as well. But it was presented to him for his coronation. And so
It's pretty beloved still, this fountain, I would say.
I would say so, yeah. It's right next to the TV tower. I always see people taking pictures of it. It's also, if you go there at the
The
sunset,
naked dudes and the crying child.
to be clear, the naked dude was in the statue.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, if you go there at sunset, the light hits the water in such a beautiful way. But yeah, I often am explaining, if I'm going past it on a tour, I'm like, oh, it used to be around the corner, around here. And Wilhelm II complained that it was too close to the palace and that people would therefore be hanging around outside his bedroom.
Oh, he moved it.
No, he didn't move it. He left it there, but he was whinging about it. It was taken away during World War II, so it's the Nazis who moved it and the East Germans who replaced it. And what I find weird about that is that they put it between the TV tower and their statues of Marx and Engels. And it's a quite imperialistic thing. I mean, it's, I'm going to look at the Greek lady here. What god is that? Poseidon?
Yeah, I would assume, no? With
Is it,
water?
is it Poseidon in Greek and Neptune in Rome? Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question. I assume that when there's like the big square now with the Engels marks, I assume that before it was like full with buildings and construction.
You can see them here.
Yeah,
And they were all destroyed. And then the East Germans wanted this big open space instead. But yeah, again, why it's kind of a bit weird for the East Germans is, you know, West Germany claimed like all German territory. They claimed the lost territories in the East. East Germany only claimed what would become, or what was, East Germany. And the 4 goddesses that surround the statue represent these 4 German rivers. Quiz time. Quiz time.
Elbe,
Elbe.
the Rhine, of course. Probably the Danube.
Danube, he's on it.
And the Spree, I guess.
No. So the other one, yeah, the other one is no longer
Almost.
in Germany. That's the thing.
It's the Polish one. In
Correct.
Poland now.
Yeah, Weichsel. In German, it's Weichsel. Vistula,
The Vistula.
where the Russian and German empires would have met. So at the time, this was supposed to show Kaiser Wilhelm II how great and big and wonderful his empire is. And so for the East Germans, it's like, well, the Rhine we don't have. We've got, I think, maybe a bit of the Danube, I'm not sure.
Not a lot, I guess, right? Of the Danube.
Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you.
Yes.
But yeah, it's a bit weird for them to have something that's so overtly imperial, but especially like Marx is looking at it.
Yes.
He's probably looking at it going, all those oppressed
That's
people.
a very. But I mean, I would presume that this was when they also put the Frederick back. Like was it like around the same
Ooh.
type of?
So they put Frederick back in the 80s. So we're going to have to
We'll
flash
get
up
there, I
on
guess.
screen when they put this back.
Yes.
But yeah, I was surprised to find out it was still the original though. I think we've got a few angles of it as well.
Yeah, that's another one. Let me see if I can find it.
I just liked them because they gave you an idea. And the space where it sits today is a little bit cursed. It was in the news, local news recently, because it's like a great example of evil anti-homeless architecture.
With a
Because they've got this great big bench there, but it's like waves. So it's in a wavy kind of shape, so you can't lie down on it. And they put no trees there, and the city gets hotter and hotter each year.
Oh, I see. And there's this other angle which is a bit wider. That's
Like
why-
with the amount of flags you see, and we're going to see a lot more swastika flags lately.
Oh yeah, it's
it's crazy.
It must have been like, yeah, oh, we can see some there.
Yeah,
There we
also
go.
there.
Yeah, I was thinking, oh, you cannot really this when they contain themselves.
It is
No,
always.
I mean, you raise an interesting point because we're talking about how we can use these images in Germany, other ones we can't. Yeah, you technically can't display a swastika in this country, but it's all about context. We're talking about history. I've never got in trouble for this. What I've always been worried about, so I used to carry this folder with me, A4 pictures that I would show on tours and so. And like it was basically a picture book of Nazis, man. It was like a little kid collecting football stickers, but it was like I got Hitler, I got Himmler, and like if you leave that somewhere, you have to like, oh yeah, I just came back.
From my fault.
I mean, I'm not sure, but I could bet they were Nazi trading cards at some point. I could swear.
During World War II, yeah, maybe. When I printed the images, I also printed them in Friedrichstrasse, which is a quite well-known left-wing part of town, and I had to I gave the guy the thumb drive.
Please don't judge me.
Yeah, like I'm a tour guide, and he was like, I hope so. No, he was really nice. What's next on our little tour of 1936 Berlin?
Next in our tour is this one.
Oh.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, you love a big Willie.
I mean, it's not because I like the Big Willie. Really, the scale of how massive these statues were. These were like very big dudes, right?
They must be more than life size. Just the people at the bottom.
Yes.
We can also see on this one very clearly the water damage. That's going to be a theme for the other images, which is a bit of a shame, but there we go. I'm sure some AI will clean that up one day. But yeah, this was a massive monument, not far from the fountain that we just saw. Today, it's a construction site. It's one of those cursed construction sites that's lasting forever. They want to build a monument there for the 1989 revolution, the Berlin Wall revolution. It's going to be a big concrete seesaw. And if you all run to one side on top of it, it will move. It takes the weight of a lot of people to move, right? And it's a kind of showing you what you do when you work together. I think it sounds like a child is going to get crushed beneath it. And so it's going to come with health and safety. And the reason that they didn't rebuild what was there is even though we still have statues and streets and things named after old Prussian kings, I guess this thing didn't survive.
This is Willie first?
Willie I. First Willie. Yeah, Wilhelm I became king after his brother's death, which I want to say is 1861. And like he was very much a Prince Harry growing up, you know. It was like brother's going to get the job. He has 3 kids, I think, who all die quite young.
Oh my God.
And he was like, Wilhelm was like, I don't know, I was supposed to just be in the cavalry and hang out with the lads and drink and basically be grumpy all the time. Like if you look at his face, he's like, that's how much fun he's having.
Yeah.
Like all the time. And then, he becomes king rather, I guess, it wasn't unexpected at the time, but growing up it would have been unexpected. And by the time he's been king for 10 years, Germany forms, he becomes Kaiser, and essentially when Bismarck's like, I can make you the emperor, this guy is like,
okay, isn't it?
but really he's like, do I have to do stuff? Like I don't want to do stuff. Like, is it more work? You know? And yeah, he never really visits the other parts of Germany once it's formed. That's something that Wilhelm II will do. And Wilhelm II will build 400 monuments to his grandfather.
A lot of horses around.
Loves a horse. Well, Wilhelm II is like a little boy. So when cars were new and someone like, he was surrounded by old people like his grandfather's friends, and they're like, oh, cars, my horse works fine. So Wilhelm II is like, my horse works fine. And then like, I guess some of his friends get cars and he's like, damn, cars are great.
He was big on cars at the
Big
end,
on cars.
right?
Yeah, he had his cars delivered to the Netherlands when he fled.
Yes, that's in the Apple's video.
Oh.
Well remembered, because I just say stuff. And so he built these 400 monuments, obviously, you know, because he quite liked his grandfather. But it's also the idea of nation building. Like, we are a new country. We're going to honor him for years and years and years. You know, he's a very important
The
man.
lion with the muskets, or was it? Is it muskets that the lion has?
Muskets, rifles, it's so cool, right?
That's crazy.
And there would be another chariot behind the photographer as well.
Or like a quadriga, another one.
Yeah. On either side, and it's
This is very excessive. I've been seeing other pictures of this, and it's so ostentatious, and it has like this very kind of military Prussian just agenda, right? Like just in your face.
It's another look about at how beautiful this city must have been as well, how ornate. The people who watch the videos we make that also seem to think the Nazis had the right idea, which is like, just stop watching them, dude.
Yeah, no.
Like, you're not enjoying it. Like, it's okay. It's not okay, actually. It's really bad.
There's another viewpoint of this kind of in this other picture. It's going to be, we'll get
Is he
back.
coming up?
But
That's
wait,
fine.
where is this?
Right next to what is now the Humboldt Forum.
Right.
Like in front of the big, the cupola, no?
Yeah, the big dome.
Yeah, the big
So
dome.
if you're entering the Humboldt Forum, Big Willie would be watching you, but
Next to the river.
very puerile today.
Yes.
The videos are usually a bit more serious, aren't they? Me talking to a camera about German crimes.
Oh,
that's
this
the
is my
one.
favorite.
Well, where did you find the little swastika here then?
Aquí está.
There it is.
It's easy to remove, which is nice.
Yeah, of
Sure,
course.
yeah.
I mean, this is such a nice. I mean, I think this is the best picture. Just as a photographer, kind of composition, it's so good. It kind of. It's
like
so-
why
I even
down
like the little water damage around it.
Yes,
honestly.
it kind of
You
gives
can
it a
use
little
live, yeah.
pizzazz, you know. It just everything works on this picture. The person walking.
Oh yeah, that's true.
This would have been a very modern building at the time. The buildings were finished, designed by Peter Behrens and finished like just 2 or 3 years before this photograph was taken. So we know that this guy is here in 1936, right? And you can still very clearly see in here that there's the Aschinger cafe, bakery, restaurant, whatever.
Now it's my Uniqlo shop where we go buy pants.
May I suggest going to any other Uniqlo?
Probably, yes.
Like that one is it's just crowded,
Ground
man.
zero.
It's really like fighting people. Like they need fewer things in that store.
Yes, put B-roll of this.
Look, I'm a big Uniqlo boy.
Me too.
I'm not slighting the Uniqlo brand, but that's a dangerous one.
This funny thing is that when I first came to Berlin and I was getting familiar with the city, I assumed that this was an East German building, and I think it's probably like a common misconception is that the people see this and the type of architecture that is kind of, I guess, post Bauhaus or like
it's Neue Sachlichkeit.
New objectivity.
New objectivity.
There we go. I've got a new objectivity book, and I'm just keeping it pristine. So I haven't actually read it yet.
It's a great paperweight.
yeah. It's in the background of like most of these videos. What I really like is what's just off camera to this, which is these. These buildings are twins, and they've got this like light up entrance to the old Berlin. And this is the goddess Berliner, who's just a made up representation of the city. And it's a shame that she wasn't returned, because I don't think she's got negative connotations, but she was replaced with something quite cool.
Yeah, it's the world clock, no? The
World clock. Yeah. Is Mexico City's on there?
Yes, it is.
Surely Athens is on there.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so, yeah.
Must be. I was there recently with a couple of Canadians, and we were walking over to it, and I was like, guys, I don't think Ottawa's on there. And they were like, oh, it's fine. I was like, yeah.
I think it's Quebec they have.
I think Quebec's on there, and they were like, And then like, because there's so many time zones in Canada, right? I was like, look over here, and they were like, Edmonton is on there, but not Ottawa. Outraged. Outraged.
Well, Ottawa is like a very tiny city compared to.
But it's the capital.
But I know it. The other one, I don't know.
Was it the capital back in the? I guess so, right? Yes.
Canadians, let us know if Ottawa was the capital from the beginning.
Sorry, I've been there. Don't remember.
Good job.
Yeah, but like, is that statue anywhere in Berlin or?
I've never seen it. I don't know if it's stored somewhere. I know that there was a lot of. It's two things really. The Nazis took down a lot of statues and hid them away. That's why we have a lot of original statues today. There was also, had they not removed that in case they got destroyed. Yeah, okay. They took them down before the war began while they were testing blackouts, and they told people, like, no bombs will ever fall on Berlin.
Oops.
But we're going to practice just in case. It's very much the like, when it comes to public policy, it's the I'm not going to hit you of public policy.
Okay.
Okay.
I promise I will never oppress you with this fantastic body of policemen.
Yeah, it's so weird. Are they looking for you?
Yes, all the time. So it's a shame. I think I'm also there's a lot of contempt, I guess, because she's like it's a lady that's a bit thicker on the bone. So I've learned like a lot of people did not like that.
Oh, I've never heard that. That's sad.
Yeah, it's
Really?
like, but that's kind of
But great.
it's supposed to be like more of a powerful. I think. I think it does represent that very well. Like it's like a strong woman. No, it's not like.
Well, the Nazis wouldn't have liked that, would they?
Yes,
Yeah,
maybe.
maybe they cast that out.
Yeah.
Well,
that's what I read.
Yeah. Well, she's gone now, replaced by a big communist clock.
Which I like a lot.
It's every woman's dream.
I mean, I think this is the clock is probably one of the better known communist and much more beloved communist monuments, right there.
I've read, and I hope it's true, that the mechanism that makes the top, like the planets and things, spin on the top of it, that originally at least it used a Trabi motor.
Oh wow!
And it sounds like one of those things that's like, we'll just tell people that
Yeah.
because they'll believe it. So I want it to be true, but I haven't been able to confirm it.
I mean, they didn't have like an abundance of motor designs, I guess, in East Germany.
If it works, it's small, it's simple, use it. But I love the idea of like, all this pollution coming out the top of this clock. All right, where else did our photographer visit?
He went. I mean, this is all Alex.
Alex.
So, yeah, he just did a 180 here.
Yeah, and the other guy's in Alex too. So there's also more angles.
It was a little school trip.
Yeah.
They were just hanging out.
There's the one. This is the next picture that it matches.
But I like oh my, look at this guy
So-
running.
For the tram.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, these Alex pictures are very nice, Alexanderplatz.
And it just shows you how different this place used to be.
Yeah.
So the Hertie store, we talked about Ham and Teats with Matty in the cemetery video, the Jewish cemetery video. So the company was founded by Ham and Teats, who's Jewish. There were a lot of Jewish owners of department stores like this. And the business was eventually Aryanized. I couldn't tell you if that had happened by Oh no, it's happened by this point. I'm guessing there's another swastika on top. Although they could have forced the owners to do that. But they kept the name. The name was so well known. So even though there was an Aryanized business, it's still named after a Jew, which is confusing.
It's like a pet name of Hermann Titz, right? It's like so it has a Jewish name just straight up. And they were like, I guess we'll keep it.
Yeah, if people know it, yeah, I guess it's just a very, very, very strange thing.
You can see that they were a bit arbitrary with their...
Of course. Yeah, this is something in the History Flakes podcast we talk about a lot, which is they're just making it up as they go along, right? I wanted to say something about this. This is where today you find the big open square where the fountain is. You know, if the photographer was standing here today, it would be a photograph of the Primark store and another big
City Park. What's the City Hotel?
Oh, the Park Inn,
Yes.
where you can do the swing from the top,
Yeah,
or not, because I would never do that.
No.
And they used to do bungee jumping from there.
Yeah, I've seen it live, like in winter also. It's like, what are you doing, people?
This photographer had never once thought about bungee jumping.
Yeah,
That's sad.
Yes.
What's next on our little adventure?
Oh yeah.
Different angle. There we can see in the top the
lamps, no? The lamps.
Yeah, what would have been the lamps. Apparently they do still light up occasionally.
Really? That's exciting. I wish they do that more.
And I wish that they'd reopen this as a cafe and viewpoint up there. That's where it used to be. But yeah, we got some old-timey cars and suits and hats and things in this one.
This is the angle that we could match to the other.
With the other guy.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's almost the exact same
like
picture.
A little bit to the left.
This is one of those ones that's really cool to do a before and after because you've got 3 buildings, including the train station, that are still there, and like everything else is completely different.
Do we have the matching? Maybe we can see it.
Yes, but you have
briefly.
to go to the other.
This is the same angle, but it does has like different flags here. Eh?
So
Yeah, it's not the same day.
Probably it's not the same day. Okay.
Yeah.
This is Cassie's detective work here. These buildings also have a steel frame, so ideally, I hope we can show the 1945 photograph of this building because it's just
blown out. Oh wow!
Like that's basically all that's left. So it's kind of one of those ones where if it was completely removed, you wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, I think this is maybe the part of Berlin that has changed more over the years. Alexanderplatz.
Yeah.
They have like the colonnade, the thing that they moved.
Oh, the colonnades used to be, they were moved already like 1910 or so over there, yeah.
They used to be like right there.
Well, I got some like not angry comments, but like a bit in jest when I said, Alexanderplatz is all grey and ugly in some video. And like there was a guy with East German family who was like, my family would kill you for saying that. He didn't say that. They'd be very upset. Now, he was a super nice dude, right? We get angry commenters and we get people who actually like want to engage in a conversation. Yes. And he was the latter. And so I looked it up, like what did it look like in the East? And where you've got a great big building now with the Saturn store inside, that wasn't there. And there was more trees and there was a kind of pattern on the ground. And I think it was a little bit nicer, depending on how much you like 5-story tall electronics stores. It's quite a lot. I'm still like an 8-year-old when I go in there. I'm like, I want to see the big TV.
You have like this open square with the houses, letters, and the nice on the background.
Yeah, you have the apartment.
Okay, yeah, it kind of makes sense. Yes.
Yeah. Where else did our Hungarian school trip go? Oh, good one. Okay, out to the Reichstag. So what's kind of mad is that at this time the Siegersäule was still there. So the great big column is now behind him, and not only are we looking at the Reichstag, which used to look a lot more castle-y, I suppose, got some swastika action there too. I wonder if there's a photo without one, actually. And this, right in the center of the image, is Otto von Bismarck. And that statue still exists.
Yes.
So when they moved the victory column, I assume they also moved all of the accompanying statues to their current location as well. Because the idea with moving it was this is going to be just a giant square, like as big as it is now, like forget about it. It's going to be like 8, 9, 10 times as big or so. And so, yeah, it's not just Bismarck, but there's all these other like Prussian generals or military figures that are surrounding it. So they're all kind of looking upon their victory, which in this case is, they started to build it for victory over Denmark in 1864. And then they were like, oh, we've also defeated Austria and France, and we'll just keep like adding gold and cannons and stuff. Yeah,
the cannons is like That's a touch. It's like just a little, and it's like capture cannons.
They're captured cannons and it's stolen gold, is my understanding. I hope that's true. There was a bit of I had a bit of friendly debate with people online about this. If they're French or Danish cannons, I'm not quite sure. No one seemed to think that they were Austrian. So, yeah, and like this it's one of those places where, to be honest, it looks like shit today. And I guess you guys don't go and stand in front of the Reichstag as often as I do, because I'm a tour guide. But they have put some fresh grass down, and it's starting to look better. But it's mostly just like a desert.
I mean, people that I have walked through this part and I like show the sights and stuff, they are kind of very disappointed when they go to this place because it looks very desolate, and
It's just not looked
Reichstag,
after.
which is like this big historical building with the new dome, the Norman Foster dome.
I have a pet theory that like when World War II was lost, Germans just lost any kind of care about aesthetics. Like you still find cool stuff, nicely designed stuff, Adidas. But yeah, I mean, I guess that speaks to the scale of having to rebuild everything. And so yeah, we don't have nice tiles and.
The square is called
Platz der
Platz der
Republik.
Republik.
Yeah, formerly the Königsplatz.
Yeah. So it also has like an imperial type of context.
Formerly, yeah, they renamed it after the Republic. I'd have to check when that is, exactly when they renamed it.
Because this was on the West Berlin. Yes.
Yeah. The Berlin Wall, about 25 years after this photograph was taken, the Berlin Wall would go up right behind that building. Like the next building behind it, the Reich President's office, Hermann Goering's office, would have been in East Berlin. Yeah, but Goering wouldn't know.
And also on the opposite side, on the back of this viewpoint, you will have the Krollopper, which we also.
The Krollopper, tune in. That one did all right. Is that the one that got demonetized?
I don't know.
Was it
And
the
with the
one
boobs.
with the boobs?
The boobs.
Yes, probably.
Yeah.
It's the degenerate art that we dare to post.
Yeah, because they told us that like this frame is the one with the problem, and like next to it was a caricature of a Jewish person, and they're like, it's fine.
Yeah.
No boobs. Anyways, let's see what's next. Go through loads of the sites. And there's a close-up of Bismarck there.
Bismarck.
It's covered in bullet holes today.
The what?
It's got bullet holes all over it today.
Yeah. I mean, this is quite a statue. I guess it's also from the Willy II
Era? Yeah, well, he built 400 for his grandfather. It was over 1,000 for Bismarck.
Okay.
So you can find them all over the country. The biggest one is
I
in
think it's
Hamburg.
1900 and 1902 says like on the monument, right? I think.
Yeah, by which point, I believe he was dead.
Bismarck?
Yeah, because there was a bit of a scandal. Do you know about this? A photographer kind of like crept through his window to photograph him dead in bed. And to break the news. And I mean, you look at this photo, like, dude's dead.
Oh, Jesus.
And that's where we get...
We're keeping it secret? Or...
I guess you want to release the news when you want to release the news.
All right.
Like, they weren't, Weekend at Bernie's, like, running Germany, It would be amazing. No, but that's kind of theory. I think it might actually be true. I looked this up once as to how we got the present day reason why we're making this video and why we don't have such free and easy image rights in Germany. It's like this was a great big invasion of privacy, and that's where we get this rule in Germany, which we don't have in the UK, that like you own your own image if a photo is taken of you, right? So I think these images of dead Bismarck didn't appear until like the 50s.
Oh, wow.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to just include this because when I was doing my before and after, like if I did the before there, it's just this construction site at the moment. But yeah, again, that was moved, and we can really clearly see here that when they moved it, they added that extra layer to make it taller. And they put it on a big base as well. And that was, all to make it bigger to, what can I say, show off for the Hitler's coming victories was the line I've always heard, which is, how can I say? Confident.
Is it beloved, the Siegessäule? Is it like...
I wonder. I mean, I would say so, because it's got a nickname, right? Goldene Elsa.
Yeah.
Gold Elsa.
And it has a cool story about the model, no?
That's a cool story.
Go on.
it was in a book. I don't know, but I remember that he was a sex worker that she modeled for the sculpture, and
My monocle
Yeah.
just fell off. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, we're talking 1860s. That's
yeah.
a great shame. Not shame. Sorry, a great scandal. Oh, mad. Yeah. I mean, you can go right up there today. I always say that they put more stairs in every time I go. But that's also like if you go watch all my like short videos, and you can just track how much weight I've put on. That might be that. But yeah, it's I mean, it's still a cool place to visit. But yeah, it would be awesome
With all
to see it.
these phrases of the wars and
Yeah, the wars of German unification. You know, the French wanted to get rid of this after the war, right? Because they said like, they renamed squares if they were named after victories. We're talking Napoleonic victories. Like, so what is now the Mehringplatz at Hallisches Tor? Yeah. That was called
has another like
Berlinerds, which is a hotel where I think BlueSky met before the battle, and the Prussians and the Brits won. And basically, the French wanted to get rid of this thing, and it was in the British occupied part of Berlin. And they called together this emergency meeting with the other allies. Right? The Soviets were like, "Bye, we're not showing up," and the Americans and Brits were like, "Nah, we'll just keep it. It's fine." But the French, they took the reliefs, and they were not replaced until the 1980s. They were a little gift for the 750th anniversary of Berlin. They brought them back so you could see Bismarck defeating the French. My favorite thing to do.
Oh wait, there's also no swastika in this one, right?
Hey, thank you.
Ding, 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 ding. It's probably a
Wait,
couple of brown shirts
maybe
down
it's somewhere.
there hanging around.
They look a bit fishy.
Yeah.
St. Hedwig's. This is where the first book burning took place, right in front, on the left side of this image. So St. Hedwig's is a Catholic church, which is rare for this area. It's built under Frederick the Great. Has moved to, you may say, pacify, you may say welcome Catholics. I mean, he certainly did invade them, and took Silesia off of the Austrians, off of Maria Theresa, started this
Like
historic beef.
Some politics.
Some politics. I think Frederick the Great was a talented politician. I err on the side of him being incredibly smart and just thinking,
Yeah, he was, given the standard of the time, he was definitely as good as it gets.
Yeah, for sure. And so, why not build this in the center of town and welcome Catholics? I mean, I come from a place that has in certain parts, very deep Catholic and Protestant divide, right? Scotland for sure, but obviously Ireland, Northern Ireland, it's still drastic, less so these days, but yeah, it's been very violent within my lifetime. And to look back at Prussia, of all places, a place that wasn't, when this was built, 1750s or thereabouts, was not a wealthy place, was not seen as a cultured place. And to go, why don't we just both be happy? Like, I think it's, testament to Frederick the Great. The Nazis would also want to use Frederick the Great's image, right? He's a German invader. They made a movie about him.
This was like a whole series overlapping from the Weimar era. There was this actor that was doing all of this, and they carried out from the Weimar era into the Nazi era, and he kept performing these movies as Frederick the Great.
Mad, yeah. But I mean, Frederick the Great, I think, would have hated a lot of what the Nazis stood for.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I mean, he also
was a bit,
he did go to war. He took his country to war. It's one of the first things he did once he was king. He also then wrote in his diaries after this had finished that he regretted it deeply and would never ever start a war of aggression again. He also slept with a lot of men, which some of the Nazis did, but they weren't supposed to. They said it was bad. And above all, he loved reading. That's why, again, behind our photographer, he built the State Library here. And to say that that's where the Nazis then burned their books, I mean, I can't think that would have been, an act that he looked upon kindly.
It was closed like for years, right? They were like remodeling it, or I think.
When I first moved here, about half the square was covered up while they were remodeling another building just off of this image, which was the Staatsoper, designed by Frederick the Great's one time. He fell out with a lot of people, so it was his friend for a while. It was Graf Georg Wenceslaus von Knobelsdorff.
Oh, that guy, yeah.
Yeah. When I first became a tour guide, I had to talk about Graf Georg Wenceslaus von Knobelsdorff. Like, I didn't speak German, so I just practiced that phrase, that name, one name, and it stuck in my head ever since.
Knobelsdorff.
Like, the last
Great
thing,
name.
the last breath I breathe will be like, Graf Georg Wenceslas von Knobelsdorff.
This is also different. There's no tower at the top, or like, right?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, I didn't notice that. Funny.
Yeah.
Because that's just been renovated, just been reopened, which they've done a very nice job. It's for a Catholic church. I mean, you walk in there today and it's like very like white and plain. It's very different. I used to, in its previous incarnation, describe it as a Catholic church renovated by communist atheists who had no money.
Yeah.
So it just looked a bit funky. But yeah, it's a yeah, they've done a great job recently.
Okay, this is the good
So this is grim, isn't it, right? Because again, I really, you can call Frederick the Great a warmonger. I would argue with you about that, but okay, I can see where you would come from. I really think this guy would have had a lot of problems with Adolf Hitler.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, by the standards of the 18th century, I think he was very progressive. Yeah, and that's a very couched term, but still. I always like to point out, because I walk right by here all the time, that the people at this level are life size.
Okay.
So that the East Germans were immediately like, kings, bad, we are communists. Makes sense. And so they didn't actually decide until the 80s that actually he's okay.
Yeah.
And then they brought him back.
Yeah.
But it took a while.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, this one is nice.
So that shows you there's a nice addition to the palace. And of course, in the back, we have the Berlinerds, which also doesn't have its little tower on the top
That's
anymore.
true. Yeah.
It's the big
I
cross.
wonder why is that? Is that like a...
Or these ones.
Also the
got
tower.
I'm guessing it's money. Money is the reason. Because the East Germans started the renovation to that. I mean, so funny that in this area, where we see the trees on the left-hand side, they built all these new buildings, and they're like, this is what our new town is going to look like.
This is where the Palast der Republik was.
Exactly, yeah. And then next door, they have this cathedral that's like a World War II ruin. And you're thinking, you're inviting people to the center of your new kind of thing, and there's like this like destroyed cathedral there. I mean, Dresden must have been even more.
There's this couple of amazing pictures of the cathedral reflected on the crystals of the Admiralspalast, and there's fun.
Of the Palast der Republik.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Palast der Republik.
Just a brown 70s, 1900s cathedral. Like,
Yes.
Fine.
It's crazy.
Although anachronistic design, yeah.
Here is where the modern facade of the Humboldt Forum.
Exactly. A little bit set back from the river. Really nice place to sit and chill. And I know for political, historical reasons, people don't love the Humboldt Forum, but if you just hold your nose and go in, it's great.
Yeah.
Like, it's really a fantastic museum.
And it's fantastic that they have like all of this nostalgia in the shop for
the building they destroyed.
building that they are replacing with this weird. I mean, you have to love it.
There's no more damning kind of leftist criticism, is there? Like, you love that building, so not only did we destroy it, but you can buy like a little Lego version of it.
Yes. And we're back.
This is quite cool. You can always tell this dude with his big crooked nose. He's the Great Elector of Brandenburg. So we're talking 1600s. It's either his son or his grandson who will go on to be the first of their lineage to become king. And I didn't know that statue used to be there. And what's weird is today there are two of them.
What?
Yeah. So one is the original statue is outside of the Charlottenburg Palace. And the B-roll I submitted to you is the copy, but on the original pedestal. So I was like, we're going to mention both anyway.
Okay.
And one of them's on the far opposite side of town to where I live, and one of them's not. So we'll do the one that's not. And that statue is now, so the pedestal is now inside the Bode Museum, in the section that you can enter without a ticket, which is this main foyer, and you can go up to the cafe at the top, and it's really nice.
Lovely place.
It is a lovely place. And this is one of those places today where if it weren't for just one building, you'd really struggle to know where it is. And so, yeah, I mean, it's another really gorgeous detailed statue. Now that it's an equestrian statue of a Prussian, you're making me think it was also Wilhelm II, who's like, another one. This wonderful fortress-like building at the back that used to mark, it's all to do with like tax and trade. Like that was the edge of old Berlin that was there. And I mean, you walk down there now, it's
medieval, it's like Spittelmarkt and this zone.
That's just a little bit before that. The Spittelmarkt's like just behind.
Okay.
But yeah.
And we were walking around here in the Lostis video, doing the...
We did, yeah, next to a big road. And Cassie was like, this is cold, and the guy keeps talking. You had to hold a battery at one point to warm your hands up. Yeah. It's like -1 today, in case you want to just go for a walk.
Yeah, let's go shoot then.
Of course, now famous Nikolaiviertel, no?
Yes, yeah. So communist Disneyland. So you can see that in this case they follow the same street because this is where the river is, but otherwise they don't follow the original street plan or anything. Oh, this statue has survived. It would have been behind the last one that we saw. And this is inside of the courtyard, what is now the Humboldt Forum. In fact, this section is now inside. And you can see that's the Wilhelm statue we talked about before, through there. And so this is the August Kiss statue from, I think, 1855. It says it on it, and I walked past it yesterday.
Yes.
This is very important to me as an Englishman because that's St. George, the patron saint of England, slaying the dragon. Have you ever seen a dragon in England? Good job, George.
It's a great statue. This is one of my favorites, I think.
I always thought it was a bit tacky. And then I found out it was like, it's 200 years old. I thought the East Germans just plonked it there, but yeah.
So you thought like they were like just trying to kind of
create some history.
Okay.
But why would they have chosen St.
Yeah,
George?
they
I mean,
will.
he's from Turkey, is my understanding. And he represents, for a lot of people, England, but also Georgia. So, that was part of the Soviet Union. So maybe they I reckon they just didn't think too much about this stuff. And they were like, we're building a historic area. We've got an old statue in storage.
looks medieval.
Let's knock it out there.
Yes.
Yeah. Lovely little corner of town. This is a nice one, yeah, because, it's a square that today now looks quite similar again, thankfully. I think still a little bit of construction at the time of us speaking on the Konzerthaus. But yeah, this is the Gendarmenmarkt with the French cathedral and the German cathedral. Bit controversial lately because the redesign is just the old design from this period, I think. And it's very, very much a big grey heat trap. And I think because it was under construction for ages, people were excited about some trees. Mm-hmm. But yeah, often known as Berlin's most beautiful square.
Mm. Yeah, I'm such a big fan of
I really
Gendarmenmarkt.
like it too.
Now it's also one of the most popular Christmas markets.
Yeah, we're recording in December. In the late 17th century, when Louis I think it's 14th, is like, how about you're all Catholic now? French Protestants say, how about we leave? And so the Calvinists, the Huguenots, who are Calvinists, they come over here and they settle in many places. They settle in Berlin. And that's why we have not just the French cathedral, the tower was added later. The original is this here. That's opened in 1705. And the name, I guess, just comes from that French influence. I mean, obviously, French was the lingua franca, which is a bit of a dumb phrase, but yeah, at the time. And we reach a point around the time that the original church is built that records suggest, I guess, that around a fifth of Berliners are only French-speaking at that time.
So this was the days where basically all the royalty was speaking French here in Germany?
Absolutely, yeah. And the Prussian royal family were Calvinist, despite the majority of the people being Lutheran. I'm not an expert when it comes to religion. My understanding with the Calvinists, like you come from a predominantly Catholic country,
Yes.
right? Catholics, problems, yes, but bling and fun also part of it. And the Protestants are like, what if no bling, no fun? And the Calvinists are like, what about even less fun? That's my understanding. If you do come here today, these statues are originals, even though the churches were not rebuilt until the 1970s.
And I don't see the Schiller thing there.
Schiller doesn't seem like he's in the middle.
Yeah,
No,
he's not,
surrounded by several bored women.
So they're very bored.
They're having a terrible time. They hate Schiller.
I guess, I don't know who put Schiller there. Where was Schiller? Mystery.
Mystery, we'll
Put in
find
the
out.
comments.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, my God.
Gosh. Well, there was only one swastika last time. Let's count them. This is, of course, the view with the palace in the foreground. And again, when I was out getting B-roll, Christmas market there, which was a bit rubbish for our comparison shot. But the Nazis, clearly they enjoyed classical architecture. And just off camera to the left here is the Neues Museum. The Altes Museum, the Old Museum, which is very much like, there's a lot of columns. It's trying to look very old world.
It's a Schinkel.
Europe.
No?
It's a Schinkel building. And this was, built at a time when Prussia was like just starting to ascend. Frederick William III had it built, and it was like, look, we've got a big thing. It looks old because old is important, right? I mean, it's why the White House built around the same time also looks Greek, right? Because old is important. Greek is democracy. This is good. And the Nazis would then like to, I guess, use a lot of Roman imagery, right? I mean, they're also inspired by Mussolini. They use an eagle, which, yes, is also supposed to represent the German people, but still. So, yeah, and I mean, at this time, the reason why there's probably a lot of people here is that they're looking at the flame, which is just behind these people here.
Okay.
There's two flames. One is in the stadium and one is in the middle of town. And so, yeah, the last few kilometers would have been run right down this way, down the Unter Linden and through the Brandenburg Gate. But the volume of swastikas here, I think, is also important because, like, if you expect to see a protest today in Berlin, it's usually in front of the Brandenburg Gate, maybe in front of the Rathaus, maybe you'll have like a little march or so. This used to be the protest spot that, like, up to Hitler getting into power, and then he was like, "How about no protest?" And so to deck that out in only one thing, this is all that exists now. It's quite, like, for the people at the time, you know, all of these people in this image, if they're Berliners, would remember that this is where the big protests are. And now, yeah, you wouldn't dare, would you? This is 1936. It's still fairly early days, but we're past the freedom of speech stage for sure.
All right, interesting. This is good too.
This is
A
cool.
lot of people.
Did we include this image in our Neue Wache video?
No. And this is another talking point that I was like, I guess when I sent you the collection, part of it is that it's kind of, it's a very good collection of these historical spots on the center.
Oh yeah. It's like they're following the classic walking tour route. You know?
And they are not, it doesn't
Labeled.
say Neue Wache. It doesn't say Reichstag. It just says unknown photo. Berlin in 1936 Olympic season, unknown photographers.
So
Yes.
I think this might be your guys' greatest work was this video. Like, I loved what you did with this one.
Oh, wow.
Because we go through so many different eras and stories, and yeah, just the visual language you learned. This is when you started putting Prussian kings on my sofa as well.
Oh, yes. Napoleon too.
Yeah. It's the last time. So yeah, if you want to find out more about the Neue Wache, that is, we do have a whole video about it. Long story short, you can think of it as Germany's central war memorial, and it's still in use for that purpose today. And yeah, a war memorial, the Nazis loved that, and so they made their own version there. But this just looks like, I would imagine, this is taken the day of the opening ceremony.
Oh, okay. They're waiting for the...
Well, why else would there be such a big crowd? Maybe there's a changing of the guard ceremony. You know, I can't say for sure. There we go.
Yeah,
and
it's the
can you see
armory.
this here?
Yes.
That's not the armory. That's the now the Humboldt University.
Oh, the armory is on the others.
Yeah. That's some swastika time.
Oof.
Yeah. But again, they are everywhere, and that would make sense given that this is also the route that the flame went down. But like, as someone who, or as three people who look at a lot of photos from this time, there's a lot of swastikas in these images.
Was it called Humboldt University at the
No,
time?
it was called the University of Berlin. Yeah, I was hoping that I would get by without anyone noticing that mistake. But it's the internet. So maybe you've already finished writing your comment.
Sorry.
That's fine. We do, like, we have our little WhatsApp group and we send each other the funnest comments. So, all right, what's coming up next on our Hungary tour? I mean,
The Hindenburg.
it might be, right? I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I read that it was like they were like flashing flashing Hindenburg.
Excuse me. So, I mean, we can briefly mention who Hindenburg was, right? Who was this German hero. Yeah? Have you seen this thing? Like they used to make these like giant wooden Hindenburgs during the First World War, and you could go and hammer a nail into him out of support.
Wow.
Okay, what?
This is nuts, man. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Thanks to Call Me Steve on, or Stu Heaven, as his name is on Instagram. Call Me Steve on TikTok, who did a little video about these, and like it was a I guess you were donating to the military during the First World War. So it's like, we made a giant Hindenburg because he won the Battle of Tannenberg, and it's important. And he becomes this war hero. He's definitely an anti-Semite. He also becomes the president of Germany, and he's the guy who anoints Hitler as chancellor, and then dies.
Yes.
Summer of 34. So I guess that's why they named it after him.
Yeah.
It was very fortunate for the Nazis that he dies.
Famously, this went up in flames in
In New
Jersey.
York. Is it New Jersey?
New Jersey, yeah.
I think like blimps always just open up that kind of childish kind of wonder in you, right? And you're like, it would be cool. But if you think like everything in an airplane today has to be as lightweight as possible, right? It's why you get like plastic everything, right?
Yeah.
So that, you know, it's fuel efficient. These, like everything in there had to be made of like paper.
The piano was even like famously aluminum.
had a piano?
They had a piano which was specifically made out of aluminum. So imagine how it
How
sounds.
it sounded. Oh my God.
Probably not very nice.
Awful.
Yeah.
Also, like, guys, we're trying to save weight. Should we bring the piano? No. Bring a clarinet. It'll
Bring
be
the
fine.
saxophone.
Yeah, bring the saxophone.
The other photographer also takes a very similar picture
Of the-
Loves a blimp.
Okay, let's go check it out.
Check it out. So this is the other guy, the other Hungarian on the school trip, and he takes also a picture of.
That's a stunning
Hindenburg.
picture.
You can see it.
Yeah, and now you can see it.
I love that. Cool. And the Olympic rings as well.
Yeah, you can see that this was a better camera, right? Like it
Yeah, that
just,
guy has better quality. Yeah.
I love that you two noticed that. What's coming up next? Inside.
Opening.
I love, like, it probably is accidental, but a bit of foreground action there. It's great.
Yeah.
This looks like the delegations of the countries, like during the opening, probably. Right?
Every 4 years, the part that feels like it's never going to finish.
Yeah.
Love it. So that's where the flame will be lit.
Yeah.
So this must be the opening ceremony. How cool, man, to be there.
Oof. Yeah, this is one of the matching pictures we have.
No, that's not it, because the flags are different. This is the Japanese flag.
Same angle, different day.
Yeah.
So they must have had like the same pre-allocated seats or something. But yeah, you get a sense of the vibe inside the stadium there. And I mean, a lot of the people giving that salute must be foreigners, right?
Yes, that's
Yeah,
what I read,
right?
that a lot of people were just kind of
Just
hyped.
vibing.
That's what we do. We
Yeah.
just go with it, right? I mean, that shows
When in
you.
Rome type of deal.
Yeah, it shows you that there's maybe something in all of us that kind of wants to just follow along, fit in, do what you're supposed to,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, quite dark.
I'm sure like
Yeah.
Hitler was loving these views, huh?
You can pull up the other from the other match
Okay.
here.
Yeah. The British flag was certainly a different place. Oh, the flag's being raised. Look, we can literally.
Yeah. And the donor said you can see the high jumper of Hungary at the time winning.
Here?
On the board, she told me.
Hochsprung Frauenentscheidung. So the results of the women's high jump, and Ungarn have got. They're not quite winning yet, but everyone's at 1.60 m at this point.
All right. So let's keep moving. Okay, so this is not practically in Berlin, but
I mean, look,
say so.
if you call Potsdam a wealthy suburb of Berlin, fine. So yeah, just the old Sanssouci Palace. The
no worries.
yeah, I like to either the Hakuna Matata Palace, or you can just do an Australian accent and the No Worries Palace.
No
So
worries,
that was
mate.
terrible. That was terrible.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah. I just love that they took a day out to go to Potsdam as well. You know,
And we feel that this person here is.
that's why I wanted to include this
Yes.
picture. He's just chilling.
And there's another one you can see he might be carrying a small tripod.
Sanssouci in the back.
What really stood out for me is just how like big and wild this tree is. Like they've completely cleared those trees now, so you get a better view of the palace. I would imagine. Yeah, and like more research needed, but I believe that during this time, the bad time, Goering took a liking to this place and like would have events in this area where he would like how can I say, naked women would be set free to run in the park and then would be hunted down by men.
Oh, God.
And you can imagine how that story ends.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Is
So
this real?
well, let's pour heaps of salt on that because it's a story I've heard, but not something that I
Okay.
prepared in time for this video. So yeah. But
I mean,
look, would it change your opinion of Hermann Goering?
No. Yes.
Actually, yeah.
I know that he was a notorious womanizer.
Yeah.
If you could believe that. Jesus
Wow.
Christ.
Very hard to believe.
Yeah.
Right, guys, our cameras are about full of
Yes.
1936 information. Should we say goodbye?
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, thank you for watching. Thank you guys for like this wonderful stuff that you do. That's it from us. Thank you and thank you.
Thank you, Johnny.
Thank you.
Amazing.